I am Steve Brauer, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and would like to welcome everyone here today and express my appreciation for everyone's attendance. We've come together this afternoon to celebrate the groundbreaking for Olin's Knight Hall and Bauer Hall. I think I can work with that. You know, the singers at Busch Stadium have to actually listen to that while they sing the national anthem. I think most would agree that Washington University is one of the most beautiful campuses in the country. In this environment, students grow intellectually, socially, and personally. Knight Hall and Bauer Hall will be great additions to that environment. You can hear it all again. I wonder, is that door open? This environment, students grow intellectually, socially, and all right. Well, let's continue. With 750 undergraduate and an equal number of graduate students, Olin has transformed over the years into one of the top-ranked business schools in the country. Last year's entering undergraduate classes, a little-known fact I just learned from Dean Mahendra Gupta, had the highest average SATs of any business school in the country. Recently, the Wall Street Journal ranked the executive MBA program #2 in the world. This is all thanks to the leadership of great deans and partnerships with ardent supporters like the Knights and the Bauers, who recognize the importance of first-rate business education. On behalf of the Washington University Board of Trustees, I would like to thank my fellow trustees and their wives, Chuck and Joanne, and George and Carol. Chuck and Joanne, these buildings represent your steadfast commitment to Washington University. More importantly, they symbolize your desire to foster the next generation of business leaders, young men and women who will propel this university forward while bettering the world around them. George and Carol, your dedication to Washington University and your philanthropic leadership are an example to all of us. It's truly an honor to work with individuals like you. Your efforts to improve the world for our children and grandchildren will benefit for generations to come. Congratulations to the entire Olin community on this exciting new project. After our program this afternoon, I invite all of you to join us for a reception in Anheuser-Busch Dining Hall adjacent to this courtyard, where you'll be able to preview the architect's plans and renderings of the new facilities. At this time, I have the honor of introducing our Chancellor Mark S. Wrighton. Mark became the 14th Chancellor of Washington University in 1995. Under his leadership, we have seen applications more than double. We have added nearly 200 endowed professorships, more than 30 new buildings, a new curriculum in arts and sciences, new academic programs in biomedical engineering, American culture studies, and public health. Mark earned his PhD in chemistry from Caltech and launched his career at MIT, where he became a chaired professor of chemistry, head of the Department of Chemistry, and ultimately provost. As Chancellor, Mark has brought national and international recognition to Washington University. He served for 6 years as presidential appointee to the National Science Board, which advises the President and Congress on science policy and is the primary advisory board of the National Science Foundation. He also served as vice chair of the Committee on America's Energy Future. Mark inspires all of us to dream bigger dreams and work harder to achieve them. I'm honored to welcome Chancellor Mark S. Wrighton.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Steve. I apologize that the chairman of the board had to test out the audio-visual equipment, but we did get through it, and I think you do very well at Busch Stadium. I can't tell you how pleased I am that this day has come. I've been serving as Chancellor for nearly 17 years, and this is the first time during my chancellorship when I can stand before a group and say, there is no new academic building under construction. We're going to change that this afternoon. And I look forward to seeing the day when these new buildings are dedicated. I would like to provide a special welcome to some honored guests this afternoon. First, of course, the Knights and their family members. Lester and Becky are here, Jennifer Beckman, Steve Knight, and Chris, and Ann Davidson. Lester will be speaking a little later in this program. I'm also pleased that Carol and George Bauer are here, Carol's nephew Barry Bruns and his family. It's wonderful to have so many family members joining us on such a special occasion. Mahendra Gupta, leading the school very effectively after a very successful deanship under the leadership of Stuart Greenbaum. As we were gathering, I said to Stuart, "Did you ever envision a day when we would be expanding the Knight Center and doing so impressively and on such a grand and impressive scale?" Later in the program, you're also going to hear from Alex Haimann, a second-year MBA student here at Washington University. I'm very pleased that good friends Jean and Evie Williams are here. John M. Olin, for whom the school is named, was Evelyn's stepfather, and Jean was chairman of the John M. Olin Foundation at a time when great support was realized for Washington University. I'm pleased that members of the Olin National Council are here. In fact, it's the Olin National Council that brings us here, as they've set an extraordinary plan that I believe will bring great acclaim to the school and provide the finest education and scholarly programs anywhere. I appreciate the work of our National Advisory Council. Thanks to Charles and Joanne Knight and to George and Carol Bauer, we're now poised to move forward with this physical development that will bring so much to so many. Future generations will applaud the efforts, and I know that those who are educated here will make important contributions to advancing business here in St. Louis, around our nation, and around the world. We're grateful to these wonderful friends that will enable us not only to build wonderful facilities, but give us the compelling reason to remove Elliott Hall just behind me. We're going to have a great environment for learning, teaching, and creative work. Research is an important part of what our school does, and these important new facilities will enable us to expand our faculty and make even greater and more contributions to advancing the business world. We're committed as a university to changing the world by fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. And the John M. Olin School of Business plays an integral part in encouraging our students and faculty to be engaged in this activity of building new enterprises, so vital to our success as a country. In October 2008, as an Olin Business School executive MBA student, Seth Burgett entered the Olin Cup competition with his new business venture. As an active triathlete, Seth was frustrated that his earphones were painful and often fell out of his ears during training. With his background in designing minimally invasive surgical devices, Seth and his team developed technology to digitally scan ears, enabling the sale of custom-fit earbuds. That year, Seth won the student award of $5,000 in the Olin Cup and developed his pitch for Best Buy to carry the product. Since then, the product has developed into earbuds, an ergonomically brilliant, acoustically driven headphone, which is guaranteed not to fall out even at extreme activity levels, while providing an unparalleled level of comfort and sound fidelity. Earbuds has been named the 9th most promising company in America by Forbes, has won the same design award as the iPad, and their website was voted the best website in the world. They've raised $8 million with more than $1 million from the Olin Business School community. In the last year, they've gone from 1 to 20 products, and earbuds are now sold in Target, Walmart, the Apple Store, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Sports Authority, going from 700 locations to more than 9,000 in just 1 year. Seth's story is just one of many that we hope to promote here at the John M. Olin School of Business. These efforts are helping to strengthen the regional business environment and enhancing the contributions we make to our community, our nation, and the world. Given outstanding students an educational experience of the highest quality and providing faculty the tools they need to best carry out their mission of teaching, research, and service to our community depends not only on having the great financial resources, but also depends on the quality and character of the physical environment in which they work. The new Knight and Bauer halls of the John M. Olin School of Business will be an important part of the infrastructure for the school and also for Washington University. As the largest set of facilities on the Danforth campus, they will become a major destination for all members of this community. The generosity of friends like the Knights and the Bauers make it possible for Washington University and its Olin School of Business to continue to serve students and society with distinction. These new facilities advance our education and research agenda and add to the momentum of an increasingly strong John M. Olin School of Business. I'd like now to call on our Dean, Mahendra Gupta, for his remarks. Please welcome Dean Mahendra Gupta.
It is an honor to welcome all of you to this groundbreaking ceremony. Chancellor Wrighton, Chairman Brauer, Joanne and Chuck Knight, Carol and George Bauer, Bob and Jerry Virgil, Stuart and Elaine Greenbaum, Jean and Evelyn Williams, faculty, alumni, students, staff, and many, many friends of Olin. Thank you for being here to celebrate this very special occasion. Today we are witnessing a very important milestone in our 95-year-old history of Washington University's Olin Business School. We are laying the foundation for our second century. Thanks to the generosity of Knights and Bauers, we are able to break ground today and make way for Olin's continued growth and mission dedicated to create knowledge, inspire individuals, and transform business. To take you back in history, in 1917, an economics professor named William Gephardt was determined to establish a business school at Washington University. He called on the civic leaders and influential businessmen of St. Louis to donate their support and money in order to convince the university board that it was important to educate future business leaders about the expanding disciplines of commerce and finance. From the very first graduating class of 9 men and 1 woman in 1920, the business school has continued to grow. Generation after generation of students have graduated, prepared to lead and create new enterprises. Today we have more than 16,000 alumni around the world who are proud of their Washington University education and network of mentors, colleagues, and friends it provides. When the business school outgrew its home in Dunker Hall, it moved to Prince Hall, a renovated dormitory. When Dean Bob Virgil called on Chuck Knight to head a task force in 1980 to determine what was needed to take this school from good to great, new and expanded facilities were on top of the list. Simon Hall was built, and this ushered a new era for Olin as it gained national prominence, attracted world-class faculty and top-rate applicants for our undergraduate and graduate programs from all over the world. Olin has seen the dramatic growth since Simon Hall was completed in 1985. Just to give you a few numbers, the number of graduate business students have grown from 436 to over 1,000. Specialized master's program in finance, supply chain management, and accounting were non-existent at that time. Enrollment in our doctoral program has grown from 9 to 52 students. Our undergraduate business program has doubled from 365 to over 750 students today. Later, under Dean Greenbaum's leadership, the executive education program grew, and the magnificent Charles F. Knight Executive Education Center, where we are gathering today, was built. In 10 years since we dedicated the Knight Center, the building has hosted almost 2,200 executive MBA graduates, more than 2,200 professionals in our executive education seminars, almost 800 corporate events. Nearly 500,000 people have taken the benefit of this special investment of Charles F. Knight Executive Center. The Knight Center and Simon Hall today are in constant use. The classrooms, study rooms, faculty offices, dining facilities, they are in use from morning till night. There's no room to spare, let alone to grow. The need for more facilities to maintain and improve the quality of Olin experience is very clear. And we are extremely grateful that our great friends and forward-thinking benefactors, the Knights and the Bauers, are leading the way to make it possible for expanding Olin's facilities. Today, you're going to get a sneak preview of Knight Hall and Bauer Hall. We are very fortunate to have an excellent team of architects in Mo Riddell and St. Louis's own Mackie Mitchell working on this project, along with many excellent contractors and technicians, many of those are with us today. In few weeks after graduation, you can watch the construction project live on your computer via webcam. In fact, on your program, the website is listed, buildolin.wustl.edu. And this is a website where you'll be able to watch the construction coming out of the ground. And over the next 20 months or so, the new buildings are going to be ready. Now, I'd like to invite Chancellor Wrighton back again to recognize Knights and Bauers.
Thanks very much indeed for your leadership, Mahendra. You've brought us to an important point. I'd like now to recognize Chuck and Joanne Knight. They have been extraordinarily generous to countless organizations, have greatly strengthened this region, especially in areas of education, cancer research, and healthcare. Chuck Knight led Emerson for 3 decades until his retirement in 2004. He's had a profound influence on the development of the Olin Business School since that 1980-81 era when he chaired the business task force that led to a new home for Olin, namely John E. Simon Hall. In 1988, he played a key role when the school was named for John M. Olin. In 1995, he stepped forward again to chair Olin's National Council. His leadership led to the construction of the Charles F. Knight Executive Education Center, in which we are now assembled. In 1999, Chuck received Washington University's Robert S. Brookings Award, and last month, Chuck and Joanne Knight received Olin's Dean's Medal in recognition of their extraordinary generosity and commitment to the Olin School of Business. In late 2011, the Knights together stepped forward with a transformative gift for expanded facilities. The Knights' visionary gift will provide the foundation for Olin's second century of top-ranked undergraduate and graduate business programs, which have grown steadily since the establishment of the school in 1917. The building will be named Knight Hall in recognition of the Knights' extraordinary generosity. Thank you, Joanne and Chuck, for your commitment to Olin and Washington University. The Knights' gift have inspired another generous donation to Knight Hall building project. Under the leadership of David Farr, another of Chuck's great legacies, now Chief Executive Officer of Emerson, that company has made a $3 million commitment to name the auditorium in Knight Hall. Their gift honors Chuck Knight's visionary leadership of Emerson from 1973 to the year 2000. Chuck Knight is an unmatched example of business excellence for students of the Olin School of Business, and the Emerson Auditorium will serve as an enduring reminder of the mark he made on Emerson. Chuck Knight emerged as one of the world's revered CEOs, and we're so fortunate that Emerson developed right here in St. Louis. It's now my privilege to ask Lester Knight, Chuck and Joanne's son, to come forward to make remarks on behalf of the family. Lester, with over 30 years in the healthcare industry, has extensive strategic, operational, and senior management experience, so the apple has not fallen far from the tree. He is a founding partner and serves as co-chairman of Roundtable Healthcare Partners based in Lake Forest, Illinois, and we're delighted to have him here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Lester Knight.
Need these now all the time. Thank you, Mark, for your introduction and your kind remarks about my parents. You've been a terrific leader here at Washington University and a great friend of the family for a long time. Good afternoon, Chairman Brauer and the University Trustees, Dean Gupta, members of the Olin School National Council, Mr. and Mrs. Bauer, faculty, students, and alumni and friends of Washington University. I also want to recognize my parents, my sisters and brother, Ann, Steve, and Jennifer, and my brother-in-law, Chris, who are all here today for this wonderful celebration. This is a great day for Olin School, and it's a real pleasure to be here representing the Knight family. Some of you know that our family has a long history at Cornell, where my dad earned 2 degrees. But everyone who knows my parents well understands that they enthusiastically adopted Washington University many, many years ago. Dad first became active as a university trustee in 1977, and he's worked with the Olin School for more than 30 years, beginning by chairing a task force on the future of the school, and then helping raise money to make that future a reality. Both Mom and Dad have been active with the School of Medicine and Barnes Jewish Hospital, with Mom's work going back 28 years at the Central Institute for the Deaf, and more recently with the Haimann Cancer Center. My brothers and sisters and I are proud of the example our parents have set. God has blessed them with many gifts, and they have in turn been generous and generative in their giving. We are all thrilled to see ground being broken for these 2 new buildings, Bauer Hall and Knight Hall, because they are so important to the future of Olin. Olin has built a remarkable record in recent years, starting with an executive MBA program located here in the Knight Center that was ranked number 2 globally by the Wall Street Journal in 2010. A Master in Science and Finance program that was ranked number 2 in the nation by the Financial Times in 2011. And an undergraduate business program that was ranked number 8 in the nation by Bloomberg Businessweek this year. Mahendra told me recently that this past year, over 14,000 students applied for our MBA program, more than double since 2005. That's why this groundbreaking is central to the continuing success of Olin and its graduate programs. As the school's reputation continues to grow, so will its faculty and student body. They will need more space. They will need the best technology, and they will need study areas designed for interaction and collaboration. These buildings will fill those needs for coming generations. On behalf of my parents, Chuck and Joanne Knight, and the Knight family, we wish the Olin School many, many years of recognition and success. We are pleased that our family can be part of Olin's future, and we look forward to the day when students can enjoy this incredible new facility. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lester. Now I would like to recognize Carol and George Bauer. Actually, I need to give you a little story. George is a relatively new member of the Board of Trustees. And after a board meeting taking place right here in the Knight Center, we were walking across campus on a beautiful sunny day. As a member of the Olin National Council and a member of the board, of course, George was participating in the development of the plans for the future of the Olin School of Business. And we were walking along, looking back toward the Knight Center, and George indicated to me that he'd be willing to help us out with a major gift to help us build what will become Bauer Hall. I'm very grateful for that conversation and for the enormously important gift that makes this possible. George and Carol are no stranger to supporting others and encouraging others. They've helped organizations from their home community in Connecticut, of course, to St. Louis, and organizations around the world. Their impact on Washington University and the Olin School of Business has been tremendous already. In 2007, they established the George and Carol Bauer Professorship in Organizational Ethics and Governance. George Bauer serves on the university's New York Regional Cabinet and on our board and, of course, the National Council. Earlier this year, George and Carol Bauer received the Robert S. Brookings Award in recognition of their extraordinary generosity and commitment to Washington University, and they also received the Olin Dean's Medal for their service to the Olin School of Business. In late 2001, the Bauer Foundation stepped forward with a transformative gift to Olin for a new building. The expansion will provide the foundation for Olin's second century of top-ranked undergraduate and graduate business programs. In recognition of their extraordinary generosity, the building will be named the Carol and George Bauer Hall. Thank you, Carol and George, for your great commitment to Olin and to Washington University. Please welcome George Bauer for his remarks.
Thank you, Mark, for that very generous introduction. Carol and I are truly excited to be here this afternoon. I can remember an event in May 1942, as if it were yesterday, on our farm about 75 miles south of here. My dad announced that we were going to build a new barn. And our old barn had been built around the turn of the century, so we needed a new barn. And we bought the farm pretty cheaply, so we could afford a new barn. And I just want to say to my partner in the hotel business here in St. Louis, who's here this afternoon, I started young, working on buying low and selling high. I just wanted Bob to know that. I can remember the excitement I felt at the thought of creating something new. We worked 12 hours a day, 6 days a week that summer to complete the building, and with the help of some neighbors, we accomplished our objective. As the saying goes, we worked from sun up to sundown. That means we worked our tails off that summer. Now, I was 11 years old at the time, and you will recall that the child labor laws were passed several years before that. My dad was an avid reader of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, but he had missed that legislation. And as we say in the modern corporate world, he didn't get the memo. The barn, however, if I do say so myself, was a magnificent structure. A means for raising and nurturing our animals, We were in the cattle business, but the new barn was a great vehicle, for accomplishing our mission. Fast forward to 1955, when a 24-year-old hotshot first lieutenant returned to WashU from his 2-year ROTC tour of duty, seeking a master's degree in engineering. It didn't take long for that hotshot first lieutenant to be cut down to size, actually hacked down to size, as his thesis advisor summarily rejected 3 quite reasonable subjects for investigation for his master's thesis. Now, at about that time, one of IBM's very first commercial computers, the 650, was delivered to Washington U and installed in the first floor of Macmillan Hall, about 100 feet down this walkway. No raised floors, cables lying everywhere, but air-conditioned and dehumidified for the vacuum tubes. It was one of about 10 initial shipments that WashU, and WashU was fortunate to get an early one. I got a manual, learned to program, created a random number generator, and proposed a simulation program to solve a problem that had not been possible to solve at that point mathematically. And I fell in love with the stored programs concept. I should say I've had 2 loves in my life, my wife and the computer, in that order. My faculty committee and advisors were enthralled with what the 650 can do and enthusiastically approved the thesis. By the way, St. Louis had quite an auspicious beginning in the computer age, with Monsanto getting the first IBM 702, a 650 on steroids, in 1958. We all have been privileged in this room to have lived through one of the most creative and life-changing times in history, the computer era. And for St. Louis, it started, at least for me, just 150 feet down this walkway. And after 31 years with IBM, and since, it's been a real joy to have a front row seat in that evolving era. It's interesting, however, that the computer is really just a vehicle, an incredible vehicle. And as we stack more and more circuits on a silicon chip, it becomes more and more incredible and smaller and smaller. But it's a vehicle only, and it allows, however, creative software programs to do things that literally change our lives. And so today I feel as excited as I did when we built the barn and when I sat at the computer console a little way down the path. We begin 2 new buildings that I would suggest are incredible vehicles. And as you see the mock-ups, I know that you will agree. And let me take a moment to tip our hats collectively to Buzz Udell and Gene Mackey, who are with us today. I was a part of the selection process, and we made the right decision with regard to the architects. Our hope is that with these two new buildings, we will be inspiring young men and women to know what is known today and perhaps to discover things that aren't known today. Mahendra and Mark, with these new structures, vehicles, if you will, we know you and the faculty will further the mission of Washington University to create and distribute business knowledge, making Olin School the premier business school in the United States, with buildings to match, second to none. Carol and I are excited to be here this afternoon.
Chuck and Joanne, Carol and George, thank you. Will you please all join me one more time, giving a round of applause and thanks. It is now my pleasure to introduce our student speaker, Alex Haimann. Alex will be graduating from our MBA program this spring, just in about 2 weeks, and we are very proud of him. In 2008, Alex received his undergraduate degree from George Washington University, where he majored in political science. While in school, Alex worked for a Smithsonian Institute there, and where at the age of 19, he was the youngest staff member of a collection department. Here at Olin, Alex has served as an MBA student body president, a teaching assistant, and a management communication lab consultant. He is also two-time winner of the Olin Student Recognition Award. In addition to his studies, Alex currently works as an intern in the Banking Supervision and Regulation Division of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Please join me in welcoming Alex Haimann.
So I assume everyone's watching the rain somewhat come down behind me, somewhat not. Good afternoon. 30 years ago, actually right around the time of that task force, my mother finished her degree, her MBA, here at Washington University. A few years after that, as all of you know, a new building opened, Simon Hall. So here I am 30 years later, less than 2 weeks away from graduating with my MBA degree, and as all of you know, shortly thereafter, a new building will be built. It seems that my family has this odd tradition of finishing right as a new building at the Olin Business School is about to take form, and that's exactly right. As thousands of alums from the Olin Business School know, this school provides a special experience that has the power to transform your life. The combination of students, the class sizes, the classrooms, the incredible professors, staff, and everything else that makes the Olin Business School what it truly is, an incredible place, is housed within the confines of the incredible facilities here at Washington University for the Business School. Now, a few years short of our school's 100th anniversary, we stand here together to commemorate another significant event. On behalf of the current students, the alums of the Olin Business School, and all the students that will come to know Bauer and Knight Halls, I'd like to personally thank the Knights and the Bauers for their incredible generosity today and for the future. 30 years from now, I hope to have the opportunity to bring my son or daughter back to Knight and Bauer Hall, whether I'm touring them around as a current student, an alum, or a prospective student. I'll take that honor however it comes. And I know that even though I'll have never stepped foot in either of these buildings as a current student, that I will actually be able to talk to them about the essence of the Olin Business School, what it means to be a student here, because I know that essence will be just as true then as it is now. The best part is we all don't have to wait 30 more years before we can have a tour of Knight and Bauer Halls just a few short months from now. I would like to once again thank the Bauers and the Knights for your incredible generosity, and enjoy the remainder of this incredible day.
I'd like to add a quick unscripted note here. 2 years ago, as I took over this job, I invited each dean individually, or head of school, to have lunch at Hunter Engineering. And when Mahendra came over, I was in for a real treat. Mahendra is a man on a mission, and he laid out the whole plan for the future of this business school. And I have to tell you, it was one of the most impressive presentations I've ever seen. Mahendra, congratulations. Joanne and Chuck, Carol and George, Washington University is very fortunate to have friends and leaders like you. Thank you again for your investment in the lives of our students and in the work of this university. We look forward to celebrating the dedication of Knight Hall and Bauer Hall with you in the spring of 2014. Now I invite the Knights and the Bauers and your friends and family to join Chancellor Wrighton, Dean Gupta, and me behind this courtyard for the ceremonial groundbreaking. What do you think, Chancellor? It's going to happen under a tent. Wonderful. And for all the other guests, adjacent to the courtyard is the Anheuser-Busch dining room. We're hosting a reception where you can look at the architect's plans and building renderings, and join me in thanking the Knights and the Bauers again for their support. Thank you all very much.